Right. So by now we understand the campaigns, leads, accounts, opportunities, products, price book entries, all these things we understand. Now there's a small thing that we need to understand from here. We have opportunity, right? And as we discussed, opportunities are basically the deals in the pipeline. Okay, the pending deals, the deals which a company may close, right? So when we have these opportunities there, and we have the opportunities created, we also need to associate the opportunities with product. For example, if I say that I'm going to get a deal next month, or if we are going to make a sale next month, then we have to associate that opportunity with a certain product. What product are we going to sell in that particular sale? So that needs to be done. So for that, there is another thing called an opportunity product. Okay, there's something called opportunity product. You need to add an opportunity product, which is just basically adding the product to the opportunity. So where do we do that? So in Salesforce, you just create a new opportunity. Let's say I'm just going to create a new opportunity. Um, One, two, three, four, whatever name of the opportunity, and this is for which account. You select the account. Let's say this is for American Express, and I'm expecting this opportunity to close on 27th Feb, and it's at the qualification stage. Click on save. Okay. Now, what product we are going to sell in this opportunity? That can be, if you scroll down a little, you have the option of adding the products into it. Okay. So you will see that you have the option of adding the products into this. So here you have the option of adding the products into the opportunity, right? So you just click on add product. Okay. Now we also talked about price book, right? So whenever you are adding products, you also have to choose the price book for that particular opportunity, that which price book is applicable. As I said, the company can have different pricing schemes for different locations, for different regions, different types of companies from different industries. So whatever pricing scheme applies, you should select that price book. So when you try to add product, it will first of all ask which price book should be applicable. Let's say non-profit prices should be applicable. Say, so first thing that you do is you just select the price book. So this is how the price book is used. Okay, this is how it comes into context. Why is it take so long? So let's see. You can choose the price book from here. The price book is removed or something. Okay, let me pick something else. Bulk pricing. Just give me a quick moment. Go to my laptop. Okay, some server issue that they have on their end. Okay, so anyways, so basically what you do, you know, as you saw, under the opportunity you have the option of adding products. You guys can do it later on. You have the concept of product and price book. You can do it. So what happens is you pick the price book for that particular opportunity and you add products, and all the products will take the prices from the selected price book. So if a non-profit price book scheme is applicable for that opportunity, all the products that you add will take the prices from that particular price book. All right. And the field on the opportunity, the amount field on the opportunity will be a total of all the products that you have there. So if you go to opportunities, you go to the opportunities, this amount field, when you add the products, this amount field automatically takes the sum of all the products, sum of the amount of all the products. So whatever pricing, number of quantity which you put, the sum is put here, right? So this is how you can basically add products into your opportunities, right? So that's the other part. Now what is the next thing that we need to do? The next thing is contracts. Okay, so what is a contract? Contract is basically, contract is basically, you know, when your company has, you know, when the opportunity is almost closed, then the company will have the contract with the customer, right? Certain agreements will be there. So there can be agreements, terms and conditions and all that stuff. So those need to be tracked somewhere. Like what all terms and conditions we are agreeing on. You know, if I decide to sell a product to you, I will, you know, give you certain set of terms and conditions, that these are the terms and conditions. Uh, that will include warranties, guarantees, and, you know, other service agreements. But those are tracked under contracts. Okay, so contract is the tab where you will track all the contracts between you and the buyer. So here, all the terms and conditions will not be mentioned. Here, you are actually going to mention the specifics about the contract, like what is the start date, who is the person who signed the contract, what is the end date of the contract, what is the duration of the contract in terms of months. So these are the things which need to be mentioned here. Okay. So these things will go here. We will define these things in the contract, like for which account the contract has been created. It has been created for Burlington Textile. Who is the from the customer side who signed the contract? Okay. What is the start date of the contract? What is the term of the contract? It's a 12-month contract. So that sort of information goes here, right? So post contract, post creating the contract, you can also create orders. Now, orders are also like the information about the orders that you have taken from the customer, that goes into the orders. You just click on new. Okay, this order always need to be connected to a contract. So before you can create an order, you should have the contract in place, at what kind of a contract is applicable for that particular order, right? So the moment you take an order, first of all, you should create the contract, and then the contract needs to be associated with the order, which makes sense also, right? So the last contract that we created, this one. Okay, so it will automatically take the account name from there. What is the order start date? Okay, who is the person who authorized the order? What is the shipping address for the order? What is the billing address for the order? All these details need to be mentioned in the orders. Okay, so we have looked into two things. First is marketing. In marketing, we talked about campaigns, leads. So you do campaigns, you do marketing activities, you receive leads, you receive inquiries. Second was the sales process. In sales process, we talked about accounts, contacts, opportunities, products, price books, and opportunity product. Opportunity product basically means a product added to an opportunity. Okay, so these are the things. And apart from that, we also saw the contracts and orders. Okay, so your sales process is also complete. You have taken the order, you have made the sale. Done. Now, what is the third thing that you need to do after sales service? After selling the product, what is the thing that the company needs to do? Post sale service. Um, the customer support part, basically, the customer support part, customer service. Let me call it customer service. Okay. Now, this customer service thing can also be managed in our Salesforce CRM. So we have cases and solutions available for customer support. Okay, what is cases? Cases is a tab or table where you can track all the customer complaints or customer issues. Customer may have certain issues, complaints. Those will be tracked under cases. Got it? And solutions is basically the list of possible issues of the customers and their solutions. Okay, so I'll come to the solutions part a little later. First of all, let's look into the cases. So once you've sold the product, we saw that we have taken order, and after that we will deliver the product to the customer. Everything is fine. We have taken the money, and the deal is through, right? After that, the customer starts using the product, and he might face certain issues. He might have certain challenges using the product. That's when the customer comes back to you with his complaint or issue or questions, right? Those need to be stored in cases. So cases is the object where all these customer complaints, feedback, things like that will be stored. So click on new. Okay. The complaint has come from which customer? Talent and Textile. Who is the person who raised the complaint? You can select that. So it's the person who raised the complaint. Then what is the status? Is it a new case? Is it a working something which we are working on? Is it escalated? Escalated means something which was not resolved on time and it has been escalated. So what is the status of the case? What is the priority? Is it a high priority case or is it a low priority case? That's something which needs to be looked into. So you can mention it as a high priority. And what is the origin of the case? Okay. Next thing that you look into is origin of the case. Okay, did it come through a phone call? Did it come through an email or web? And you can edit all these options. Again, as I told you earlier, all these options can be edited. If you have more ways of receiving cases, you can add those here. Okay, so that's how it is. See, if you through email, description of the case can be written here. Subject, description, internal comments that you want to add. Okay, let's say monitor not functioning. Customer bought a laptop and the monitor is not functioning. So the customer care person can basically put the subject description and internal comments here. The case gets solved. Okay. So this is the case. If you want to see the details of the case, you can go to details and you can see the details, right? Once the solution has been provided for the case, once the customer is happy, you can go ahead and close the case. Got it? So once you have provided an appropriate solution to the customer, you can go ahead and close the case. Till that time, the case remains open, right? Okay. So one is cases, second is solutions. Okay, what is solutions? Solutions basically is an object where all the possible cases and their solutions are listed. Okay, so it's more like an FAQ kind of a thing, that the common customer problems and their solutions are listed. Why do we have something like this? This is there so that the customer care executive, before even logging a case, can try to provide some solution to the customer, or after logging the case, the customer care executive can at least go and figure out what may be the reason for the case. Let's say this monitor not functioning, let's say this is a common problem. Okay, and they can be 3 4 ways of rectifying it. So just go and create a new solution. Let's say this is a common problem, and there are a few ways of rectifying it. One is method one, APCP. Then there's method 2, which can be tried, which is XYZ. There's method 3, PQRS. Okay, whatever. So why this kind of information is important? This information is important so that the customer care executive, before logging in a case, he can advise this to the customer that, okay, did you try doing these three things? Still, do you have a problem? Then we can log in a case. Or the customer care executive himself can try doing these three things for the customer and see whether the problem gets resolved or not, right? And then if it still not gets resolved, then he can actually move it to some other team or something like that, whatever is the process, right? Apart from these two things, solution can also be helpful in terms of a self-service portal. So Salesforce allows us to have a self-service portal. We are not getting into how to access the self-service portal right now, but Salesforce has that provision. What is a self-service portal? Self-service portal is where the customers can actually log in and try to find solution to their issues. Okay, so Salesforce allows you to build that. This solution object plays a very important role in self-service portal. So the customer can actually go there, try to find a solution. Like, okay, monitor issue, try to find a solution. And the customer will say, see, okay, there is one article with this keyword. The customer can himself read this and use this information. Got it? So this is how the solutions are important. So in customer support, we basically have cases and solutions. Then the next is, okay, so marketing is done, sales is done, customer service is done. Do you think we need anything else apart from this? Do you think we use CRM for doing anything else apart from this? We do marketing, we are tracking all marketing related information. We are doing sales, we are tracking all sales related information and all the customer service related information in our CRM. Do we use the CRM for anything else, or that's all we do?
Reporting, I guess.
Yes. So though all the transactions have been done, now there is still something which you need to do, that is reporting and analytics. You need to do a bit of reporting to understand how you have been working on things. Let's say if you do marketing activities, you do those marketing activities every year. You repeat the marketing activities. It's very important for you to understand which all marketing activities are doing good, which are not doing that good, right? The same way, if you are doing sales, you need to do sometimes you need to do forecast, try and understand how much business you can generate in March. If I say that, for example, every company does this, right? They do a bit of forecast. If I tell you that for a certain company, is it possible to figure out, approximately how much revenue they can expect in the month of March, fitting in February? Can we figure out, or is there a way for us to figure out how much revenue they can generate in March? Is it possible? They will not get the exact figure, but they can get some trend or some data, some idea on that, right? And that completely depends on the reports, right? So all that they have to do is they have to do reports of previous months and figure out that, okay, what is the trend and how much we are expecting. Got it? So that ways, if the cases are there, the companies might need to do some sort of reporting to understand how many cases of which types are available, right? How much time they are taking to resolve those cases? What is the better way of resolving the cases? So to improve or to enhance the process for everything, be it sales, marketing or customer support, for everything, reporting and analytics is required. Okay. So for this, there are three things. One is reports, one is dashboards, and one is forecasts. Okay, so this is something which we will get into a little later. You might not understand, how we create a report or something at this point of time. So there's something which we're going to get into later. Just wanted you to have an understanding that we have an option of doing reporting also here in Salesforce, right? So it's not just storing information; it's also, doing analysis on that information that you have stored. You should be able to analyze that information, right? Okay. So let me know if anyone has a question here so far. So all the standard application that you see here, ultimately, if you have noticed, it's only about putting information in the database, right? And we are tracking, or we are actually storing all that information in an organized manner, right? Be it the list of products, the pricings, the list of customers, the people that we are dealing with, their contact information. So everything is a piece of information which is getting stored, right? And this is, very nice, beautifully designed user interface which is allowing us to store information in a proper manner. That's what we are doing so far. Okay. Now, what we need to understand next, we need to understand that whatever we see here is just the standard offering from salesforce.com, right? So if you see accounts, contacts, opportunities, products, this is all standard thing which has been provided by Salesforce. No, all these things, as I have told earlier, also all these things can be customized. And when I say customized, I mean customized at all the levels. For example, in account, if you want to add one more field, if you want to add one more column in the account object, you can do that. At the same time, if you feel that there is a requirement of adding one complete object, like if you feel the requirement of adding a new object, something like an invoice, you say that I want to track invoices also. My business requirement is to track invoices as well. You can create a separate object for that. Alright, so when I say customization, I'm talking about customization at all levels. Okay, starting from the smallest level to the biggest level. We might want to build our own app. We might want to create some more apps here. We might want to create some more objects or tabs here. We might want to add a few fields in a certain object, for example, an account. I have a requirement that my account should have one additional field. We should be able to do that. We should be able to remove certain things which are already there and which we don't need, right? And that is basically the strength of Salesforce.com. So it's not that you always have to work with the application that Salesforce has given. You have a scope of, you have a big scope, in fact, you have a huge scope of customizing the things as per your business requirement, which makes Salesforce very, very, preferred by the companies. So if you can tailor make Salesforce as per your requirement, the way you need it, the way your business flows, the kind of data that your business needs to store, then it becomes very easy for you. It becomes very handy for you, right? It becomes a solution which you can easily use, right? So that's how it is. Now, next, next what we are gonna discuss is basically getting into how do we do the customizations and all that stuff. Okay. Where do we do customizations and all, and that's basically gonna be the core for you. That's basically
Hi, Jeet.
gonna be your core job.
Uh, Hi, Jeet. Like before,
So talking about customization, see, this is gonna be your core, as a developer. Customization is what you are gonna work more on. Understanding the sales application, working on it is something which an end user does. A sales rep also knows how to enter data there. All right. So that's not something which we are basically gonna expertise into. We should understand how to do the customizations, right? So to do customizations better, first thing that you have to do is you have to understand the structure of the Salesforce application. Now, since you are familiar with some of the objects, I'm sorry, I have a bad nose today. So if you are trying to do customization, the first thing that you have to do is you have to understand the structure pretty well, right? For example, if you want to, do something on your laptop, or you want to, change the settings of your laptop. First of all, you should be, well aware of what exactly, what all softwares or hardwares are there in the laptop, right? How it is structured, right? So same way, if you want to do the customizations on Salesforce app, first of all, we'll need to understand the structure, how it is built. Okay. So the structure is pretty simple. It's the MVC framework. Okay. What is MVC framework? Can one of you tell me what's MVC framework? A proper definition I want. What is MVC framework? Quick, anyone?
Is the model view controller
What does that
where
mean?
if you hello,
Does that mean model view controller is absolutely fine, but what does that mean? What does a model view controller mean?
uh, so means when the end user enters some information,
Hmm.
all the information he can enter
Hmm.
through view, which is an interface,
Mm-hmm.
and that information is stored in the model, which is the database. And if any customization, if we want to do, then we can do through programming language through controller.
Absolutely correct. So basically, it's a three-layered framework for applications, where the application will have three layers: a model, view, and controller. Model is the database layer, view is the front-end interface, and controller is the layer where all the programming logics are written. Okay, so that's something which we all understand, and that's clear. Okay, Salesforce also is built on the same framework. So now what you have to do, first thing, whatever you see on Salesforce, you have to understand what component is sitting at what layer. That's the first thing that we have to do. We have to identify which component is sitting at what layer. Secondly, whenever you have a customization requirement, you have to understand that this customization needs to be done at which layer. So for example, let me ask you a few questions and you guys can answer. If I say I need one more object to add data, which layer do you think I need to add the object? As I was saying that I might need one more object to learn, like invoice object for adding data. Which layer you think we should be adding that object to?
View.
View? You sure?
Yes.
Okay. Anyone else?
we'll
I
add
think
it
it
in
should
a
be done in the
model.
modeling.
You should. We should add it in model. See, I'm talking about adding one more object, where data can be stored. So data cannot be stored in view. So we'll have to add it in model layer, right? Okay. I say that I want to, display a logo on the, my company's logo at the top of the Salesforce application. Which layer should we edit?
You?
This time it's view, right? Because it has got nothing to do with database and everything. It's simply something which is on the view, right? Okay. Now I have a logic. I tell you that every time someone creates a lead, uh, you know, the system should automatically check if that lead already exists in the database or not. Every time someone is trying to create a lead, the system should check whether the lead already exists, and it should throw an error. Which layer this customization needs to be done?
Controller.
Controller, because this is logic. It has got nothing to do with database. It has got nothing to do with the view. The person is trying to save the lead and the program needs to run. Got it? So now you guys have a fair understanding of what kind of a uh, you know what kind of a customization needs to be done at which layer. Okay. So let's this controller part we will get a little later into this. We'll start talking about customization of logics after a few more sessions. So I'm not getting into that. We'll get into model and view first. Okay. So model is basically the backend database. Correct. What do we have in the backend database? Database is what? It's collection of tables, right? Collection of data tables. So in the backend we have objects and fields. In the backend, what do we have? We have objects and field. Object is equivalent to a database table. When I'm saying an object in Salesforce, I'm actually, I actually mean a database table. Like there's a database table for storing accounts, right? There's a database table for storing contacts. These are referred to as objects in Salesforce. Okay, so Salesforce terminology, we will call them objects. And each object will have different fields. Like account will have name, industry, website, shipping address, billing address. So these are all fields. So basically the database columns, table columns in the table, right? So in the model layer, we have objects and the fields. That's it. We don't have anything else in the model. Collection of these tables form the database. So that's what we have. What do we have in view? Front end interface. Do we have in view? In the view layer, what all do we have? We have tabs, as you have seen here. These are tabs. This tab is a front end component. It's a button, right, which connects you to the object. But this is not, object. It is just a button, right? So this tab is a front end component. Leads tab, accounts tab, contacts tab. So these are all front end components. Okay. So when you create an object in the backend database, you need to create a tab which will allow you to get connected to that particular object. Okay, because if I don't have a front end UI component, I cannot connect to the backend database model, right? So, just try and compare it with a fan in your room. If you have a fan set up in the room and you don't have a switch to operate, how will you operate with it, right? So this tab is more like a switch. Okay, so this is not the table. This is just a tab or a switch which can be used to access that object. Okay. Apart from tabs, what do we have? We have app in the front end. What is an app? App is collection of tabs. So the apps that you see here, these are just collection of tabs. So each app has a certain set of tabs. Like for sales app, these are the tabs which are visible. If I change it to the marketing app, you'll see the tabs have changed here. Okay, so that's it. So an app is also a user interface component, the view component. And apart from tabs and apps, the view we have pages. Okay, for everything there is a page. Let's say if you go to a campaign, it opens a page for you. You click on this particular campaign, it opens another page for you. This is all view. The way the data is being displayed, it's a page. Okay, so this is the campaigns page. The same way if you go to contacts and open a contact, it will open in a contact page in this. So this is the contacts page. Got it? So in the view layer, we primarily have these three things: tabs, apps, and pages. In the model layer, we have these two things. All right. So let me know if anyone has any difficulty understanding the structure, how it is formed, and everything.